We continue now at the top of Daf Lamed Beis Amud Aleph in Mesechet Nedarim. This is Nedarim Daf 32a. The Gemara here continues, why was Moshe Rabbeinu punished in terms of delaying the bris milah for his son? Because he dealt with his overnight accommodations first. As the Mefarish over here says, first he dealt with the molan, then he dealt with the milah. He should have dealt with the bris milah first. The molan was near Mitzrayim. There was no danger at that point. At that point in time, the tinok, the child, was only 8 days old. So again, because he was nesasik b'molon tchila, that's why he was punished. Shenemar, like the pasuk says, he was on the way by the molon, and so therefore you see again it was because it was nesasik b'molon tchila. And the Gemara continues, Rav Shimon ben Gamliel Omer, Rav Shimon ben Gamliel says, Lola Moshe Rabbeinu bikesh satan lahargu. It wasn't Moshe Rabbeinu that malach, the Mesoras Hashas changes it from satan to oso malach, that the satan wanted to kill him. It wasn't Moshe Rabbeinu the malach wanted to kill. Elala oso tinok, rather it was the child that the malach wanted to kill. Shenemar, like the pasuk says, Ki chasan domim atali, it says, you're a bridegroom of blood to me. Come and see who is called a chasan. Haviomer zahatinok. That refers to the tinok. And the Ran over here says, Haviomer zahatinok shenase chasan al yedei bris. Through the bris milah, he becomes like a chasan, like a bridegroom. And so therefore you see again that we're referring to the tinok over here when we're talking about the malach who tried to kill. Again, it was not Moshe Rabbeinu, it was the tinok. And the Gemara continues, Darash Rabbi Yehuda bar Bizna. Rabbi Yehuda bar Bizna darshans. B'shosh and Israshal Moshe Rabbeinu min Hamila, when Moshe Rabbeinu delayed in terms of giving the bris milah, Bo Af v'chema, two malachim came, one named Af and one named Chema, uvila'u, and they swallowed him up, v'lo shayru mimenu el raglav, and they only allowed to remain from him his feet. And the Ran says that's a euphemism. Raglav really refers to the Mokom Hamila. Miyad, immediately, Vatikach Tzipora Tzur Vatichros as Arlas Benah. Tzipora took a rack, and she performed the bris milah on her son. Miyad Vayiref Mimenu, and immediately the angels, they allowed Moshe Rabbeinu to go. Ba'osasha, at that time, Bikesh Moshe Rabbeinu Lahargan, Moshe Rabbeinu wanted to kill them. Shenamar, like the pasuk says, Heref Me'af Vazov Chem, he wanted to leave aside, forsake Af and Chema. V'yesh Omrim, and some even say L'chema Hargu, he actually did kill Chema. Shenemar, like the pasuk says, Chema ainly, Chema is not to me. But the Gemara says, V'aksiv ki agartim mipnei ha'af v'chema. Doesn't the pasuk say that Moshe Rabbeinu says, I was afraid of Af and Chema? And so it sounds like from that pasuk that Chema was indeed alive. And so the Gemara says, Trei Chema have, there were two Chemas. V'ba Yisayim, and if you want, I could also say Gunda de Chema, referring to the army of Chema over there, but Chema was actually killed. And the Gemara continues, Tanya, we learned in a Braisa, Rebbe Omer, Rebbe says, Gedola Mila is great, Shein Lach Mishin Esasik b'mitzvahs k'Avram Avinu, nobody dealt in mitzvahs like Avram Avinu, v'lo nikra tamim, but he wasn't called wholehearted, Elal Shein Mila, only because of the fact that he performed the mitzvah bris milah, Shenemar, like the pasuk says, Hishalech lefanav v'yesamim, go in front of me and be wholehearted, Uchsiv, and the pasuk also says, V'etno brisi beini uvenecha, it's the covenant that I placed between myself and you. Davaracher, another explanation, Gedola Mila Shashkula Keneged Kola Mitzvah Shebetorah. Mila is great. It's equivalent to all of the mitzvahs in the Torah. Shenemar, like the pasuk says, Ki alpi hadvorim ha'ela, through these words. And the pasuk there is talking about the giving of the Torah, and it goes on to discuss the bris, which is a reference to the bris milah. And the Gemara continues, Davar Acher, another explanation, Gedola Mila is great, She'il Mole Mila, for if not for the mitzvah bris milah, Lo Niskaimu Shamayim V'aretz would not be maintained, Shenemar, like the pasuk says, Im Lo Brisa Yomam V'layla, if not for the covenant. So the pasuk goes on to say, Chuka Shamayim V'aretz Lo Samti, that Shamayim V'aretz, it would not again be maintained. And the Gemara continues, Upligo de Rebbe Eliezer, this argues on Rebbe Eliezer, Dam Rebbe Elazar, because Rebbe Elazar says, Gedola Torah Shel Mole, Torah is great, for if not for the Torah, Lo Niskaimu Shamayim V'aretz, it's because of the Torah that the Shamayim and the Aretz are maintained. Shenemar, like the pasuk says, Im Lo Brisi Yomam V'layla Chuka Shamayim V'aretz Lo Samti, again quoting the same pasuk. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rav Yehuda Marav, Rav Yehuda says, the Rav says, B'shosh Amar Lo HaKadosh Baruch Hu LeAvram Avinu, Hisalech Lefonai V'yesamim, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to Avram Avinu, go before me and be whole, Achazaso Ra'ada, so he started to tremble, he became afraid. Amar, he said, Shema Yesh B'davar Meguna, maybe something is wrong with me, that I'm not tamim right now. Kevan Shamar Lo, but when HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to him, V'etna Brisi Beini Uveinacha, that I'm going to make this covenant between me and you, Niskara Daito, so then his mind was settled. Vayotze oso achutza, then the pasuk says by Avram Avinu, he brought him outside. What does that mean? Amar lefanav Ribona Shalom histakalti v'mazel sheli. So Avram said, Ribona Shalom, I looked at my mazel, and it says over there, V'yein li'ela bein echad, I'm only going to have one child. I'm not going to be able to have this child, Yitzchak. Amar lo, so he said to him, Tzei mitzdag ninos shalcha, forget about your astrology. Ein mazel Yisrael, there is no mazel for Klal Yisrael. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak says, Kol ha'masmim atzma HaKadosh Baruch Hu masmim imo. Anybody who is wholehearted, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu also is whole with him. Shenemar, like the pasuk says, Im chassid tischasod, im gever tamim titamim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu acts with chesed with the chassid, and he acts with tamimus with the person who is tamim. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rav Hoshia says, Kol ha'masmim atzma, anybody who acts with tamimus, who acts wholeheartedly with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, shalom edeslo, so then the time, it will be good fortune for him at that time. Shenemar, like the pasuk says, Isalech lefonai, v'yeisamim, again, go before me, and be samim, and what does it say? When he's wholehearted, uchsiv, and the pasuk goes on to say, v'yisalav hamon goyim, you're going to be a father for all of the nations. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rebbe says, and some change this to Amar Rebbe Levi says, Kol hamenachesh lo nachash, anybody who acts with nichush, who divines, who tries to use a sign to guess the future, so lo nachash, so to him the nachash will work against him. Shenemar, like the pasuk says, Ki lo nachash b'Yakov, there is nachash to Yaakov, the Gemara's understanding lo, meaning lamed vav to him. And so the Gemara says, Vav b'lamed aleph ksiv. The pasuk over here doesn't say ki lo nachash as a lamed vav. It says lamed aleph. It says there's going to be no nachash. So how do you learn this from this particular pasuk? Ela mishum mida keneged mida. Rather, the Gemara says, you're right. It's not being learned from the pasuk. Rebbe or Rebbe Levi, they were saying a mida keneged mida. If a person acts with nichush, so then there will be nichush against him. And the Gemara continues, Tani Ava Bered Rabbi Zera, Ava the son of Rabbi Zera taught, Kal Adam she'eno menachesh, machnisan oso b'mechitza, she'afilo malache ashares, ein yechol likonis besoch. Anybody who does not act with nichush, so they bring him in among the areas where even the malache ashares are not allowed to enter. Shenemar, like it says, Kilo nachash b'Yakov, v'lo kesem b'Yisrael. There's no nichush, there's no kesem. When it comes to Klal Yisrael, there is no divination. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rabbi Avo, Amar Rabbi Lozer. Rabbi Avo says that Rabbi Lozer says, Mipnei ma nenash Avram Avinu v'nishtabdu banav l'Mitzrayim masayim ve'eser shonim. Why was it that Avram Avinu was punished and his children became slaves in Egypt for 210 years? Mipnei she'asa an gorya b'talmidei chachamim. The reason is because he used the talmidei chachamim to do work for him. Shenemar, like it says, Vayorak es chanicha v'lidei beiso. It says when he went to war against the kings, so he took all of the people from his household, he used these talmidei chachamim, and he was punished for that. And the Gemara continues with Shmuel Amar, and Shmuel says, Mimnei shehifrez al midosav shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The reason there was a punishment was because Avram Avinu examined the midos, the attributes of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shenemar, like the pasuk says, Bama eida ki irashana. Avram says, how do I know how I will inherit the land? And the Gemara continues, Rabbi Yochanan Amar Rabbi Yochanan says, Shehifrish b'nei adam milikones tachas kanfei hashchina. The reason is because he separated people from entering under the wings of the Shechina. Shenemar, like the pasuk says, Tein li hanefesh v'arachush kachloch. This is talking about with the king of Sodom. The king of Sodom said, give me the people and you can take the spoils. And so therefore what it means to say is those individuals that were given over to the king of Sodom, they could have stayed with Avram Avinu since they were given away. So therefore there was a punishment for that. And the Gemara continues, Vayorak es chanichav yilidei. So again it says, he took the people of his household, he drafted them to war. Rav Amar Rav says, Shahorikon batorah, that he showered these individuals with Torah. Shmuel Amar, and Shmuel says, Shahorikon bezav, that he showered them with gold. And the pasuk continues, Shmona Asar u'shlosh meos, there were 318 men. Amar Rabbi Ami bar Abba, Rabbi Ami bar Amma says, Eliezer keneged kulam. Eliezer, he was equal to all of these men. Ika diamri, there are those that say Eliezer, that actually the pasuk is a reference only to Eliezer. There weren't actually 318 men. It was just Eliezer. The chush b'nei hachi have it, because the gematria of Eliezer is 318. And the Gemara continues, V'yomer Rabbi Ami bar Abba, and Rabbi Ami bar Abba says, Ben Gimel Shanim Hikir Avram es Boro. When Avram was 3 years old, he recognized his creator. Shenemar, like the pasuk says, Eikav asher shama Avraham b'koli. It says that Avram listened to my voice. And the gematria chush b'nei ameya v'shivenu train. The gematria of Eikev is 172. And the idea is that for 172 years, Avram followed the Creator. He was 175 when he died, so therefore you see he recognized HaKadosh Baruch Hu at 3 years old. And the Gemara continues, V'yamar Rami bar Abba, and Rami bar Abba, and some again have Rabbi Ami bar Abba says, and we'll continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Lamed Beis Amud Beis.